Hello, Lady T. Good evening, Ma. Hello, Ma. Yes, so I'll just start recording. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us. We are going to be starting really shortly. And the topic today is relationships and Yoruba culture. And we're looking forward to an exciting discussion. And probably guessed who is taking it from the dressing already. I'm Temitope Ayedu, the praising child, and Pastor Kehinde Akingbade is the one that's going to take this session, and it promises to be quite exciting. Anyone can join us on YouTube live on the channel Temitope Praising Child, and you still have some time to invite others to join the Zoom, which is likely to be more interactive. I'll just mute everybody that's not speaking. Okay. Hello, Pastor Kehinde.
Dr. Temitope, good evening.
How are you, sir?
I'm doing great, thank God.
Good. What do you have for us tonight?
Yeah, praise God.
Hallelujah.
There is no way Pastor will talk without saying praise God. So the topic before us this evening is relationship and Yoruba
culture. Yeah, so I just want you to give us an intro of what we are expecting tonight.
Okay. What we're expecting tonight is what I want to major on tonight is some of the traditional beliefs in Yoruba land that is affecting relationships either positively or negatively.
Okay.
And then that we can either improve upon or try as much as possible to drop from our own language in order to have a better relationship as a Yoruba man and a Yoruba woman.
Okay.
And also, I want to also talk about how our origin, because every Yoruba man, either you are Ijesha man, or you are an Ekiti man, or a Egba man, the beautiful thing about every Yoruba man is, wherever you are, we have learned to trace our origin.
Yes.
And our origin largely determines the way we act, the way we believe. So we'll be talking about where we are coming from, because if you don't know where you are coming from, you may not know where you are going, or possibly where you are. So the first, most important thing is to know where we are coming from. What have we imported from where we are coming from that is affecting where we are, and possibly guide against it from affecting where we are going.
Awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, so this is a very important topic because it has to do with our identity. Some of us might be familiar about the topic identity issues, which is on the YouTube channel. And of all the topics on relationships that is on that channel, I personally think that is the most important topic, because once you know who you are, then the rest is easy to sort out. You know who you need on your journey. You have an idea of where you're going. You have an idea of your purpose once you have an idea of who you are. So this is quite important. I'm hoping that down the line, this video is going to help people that are seeking understanding of a culture that they don't know. Maybe people from outside that want to marry into the Yoruba culture, or even are trying to understand their partners, and people who are part of the Yoruba culture that have no understanding about the Yoruba culture. I'm hoping that it would also shed some more light and understanding. So are you ready for us, Pastor K?
Yeah, I'm ready by God's grace.
Yes, okay. So I just want to find out from everybody who's here, one or two of us to tell me what they think they would benefit from this session being here. Anybody want to go first? Yeah, you can unmute yourself and speak. What your expectation is from being here. I'll pick on somebody. Anybody willing to go first? Maggie, tell me. You are the chosen one. What are your expectations being here? You're muted. You cannot mute yourself. Yeah.
Well, even though I'm Yoruba myself, but it would be good to understand how culture plays in relationships, and it would be good to know from people who have experience, because I just have an idea. So so that's it in summary.
Okay, that's
and
great.
probably the challenge is if obviously if there is intertribal, just in case,
Yeah, it's a tribal marriage. Yes. Okay, I would let somebody else speak now. AKD Sachs, let's hear you. Let me balance it out. AKD Sachs, what are your expectations? And then I'm going to ask Ifoma because she's non-Yoruba. Oh, well, she's Yoruba. Born and bred Yoruba with the Igbo name. AKD Sachs, are you there?
Yeah, I'm with you, ma. Please let me hear the question. I'm on my way home, so I just get home now. So
okay, no problem. I said, what are your expectations about this topic today?
Actually, my expectation is just for me to see enlightenment about who and who to go for.
Okay. What do you mean?
That's my expectation. Because nowadays, may God have mercy on us. Ladies outside nowadays, they always fuck up.
Ah, well, we don't usually use that language, but I understand that you mean mess up, actually. Yeah, I understand what you mean. Okay. Ifoma, what do you have to say? What has been your, okay, Ifoma can't speak. Who is going to speak to us now? Dr. Onobola, are you able to speak to us? What are your expectations about this meeting? Let's hear you. Are you able to unmute yourself and speak to us? Are you there? Okay. Pastor Kende's cap is going to keep me smiling throughout this evening.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Okay, you're able to speak now. Dr. Onowala, let's hear you. Yes.
Actually, my expectation is to have an open mind.
Okay.
To be able to learn.
Yeah.
How my culture is affecting my relationships with other people. To learn from an experienced man, Pastor Kehinde.
Okay. That's awesome. Okay. Yes. So without much ado, we would go straight into the topic. We'll take a short break in case Pastor Kehinde needs to drink a cup of water, and because I'm sure by the time he finishes talking. Before we go further, what's the name of this your cap? I know the Betty Aja or something.
His original name is Labankada.
Labankada. Okay.
That is the typical traditional name The people who don't know it as Laba and Kada call it Abetiaja.
Abetiaja, yes, that's the name I'm most familiar with. Yeah. Okay. So I'll introduce Pastor Kende briefly. I've been calling him Pastor Kende, so you probably already guessed that he's a pastor. Pastor Kende is known to me for almost over 2 decades now.
3 decades.
3, is it 3?
1994.
You see, over 3 decades. So he's well known to me. He's a minister of the gospel, loves God. He pastors a growing, vibrant church called the Right Way Revival Commission. He's married to a lovely, young lady. She's ever looking young, who I call Mommy Gio. And they have 4 wonderful children. And he is part of Find the Link, Relate and Find the Link Parenting. And he's here to speak to us about relationships and Yoruba culture. He's very passionate about the Yoruba culture. And one day we had a protracted discussion about the different clans in Yoruba land. And I thought, oh my God, this would be so good to have him come and speak to us about the Yoruba culture. By the grace of God, further down the line, we would have someone speak to us about the Igbo culture and the Hausa culture, and maybe about the Middle Belt region, but that will be further down the line. It's still in the process. For those who don't know, tomorrow on Find the Link, we start a new series on fertility. We will be hearing more about it as the program goes on. So I will just leave the screen for Pastor Kende to start talking to us. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. I welcome everybody in the mighty name of Jesus Christ. The topic before us is relationship and Yoruba culture. There are 2 things we have to consider here. 1, relationship, and the second one is Yoruba culture. Then we need to know who is Yoruba. Where do we spread to? Because when we are talking about being a Yoruba, what comes to our mind is the 6th state in the southwest geopolitical zone of Nigeria. But beyond that, I think we can find a good number of Yorubas in Kogi State and Edo State, and some part of Delta State, like Ishekiri people are known to have the origin of Yoruba land. And one thing that is peculiar about Yoruba is among all the major tribes in Nigeria, Yoruba has the most dialect. That is a kingdom within a kingdom, because every dialect can stand as a kingdom on their own. So Yoruba is a confederation of a kingdom. And we have nothing less than 50 kingdoms that makes up a Yoruba land, that makes up Yoruba. We should know that before, all of us, we are not all known as Yoruba. The word Yoruba was adopted, I think, around 18 something. By then, I think Egba was Egba, Ijesa was Ijesha, Ekiti was Ekiti. It was only the Oyos that are known as Yorubas. But I think with time, there was one governor general who advised that all the tribe, all the kingdom should adopt the name Yoruba, and hence everybody that lives in geopolitical zone of southwest Nigeria is known as Yorubas. Among all the dialect or major tribe or major dialect we have in Yoruba land is Ekiti, Igbomina, Ijebu, we have Ijesha, we have Oyo, we have Ondo, we have Owo, Ikale, Ilaje, Akoko, we have Yagba, where I happen to come from, we have Bede, we have Ijumo, we have Owo, we have Ife, we have Isabe, and so on and so forth. There are so many. And you discover that it is each dialect with its own practice. So we need to, even we have the Egba too, and their worries in some part of Lagos that makes up Yoruba kingdom. And you see, either you're Egba, you're Ekiti, or whatsoever you are, one thing that is common to all of us is we're also share animal. So we are bound to relate. And that is why we are going to be talking about relationship as regard the Yoruba culture. As I've said earlier, that each dialect or each subgroup in Yoruba land has the principle that govern their affair when it comes to a relationship. Likewise, there are some principles that are common to all of us, either you're a Yoruba, Ijesha, Ekiti, or whatsoever. There are some fundamental principles that govern relationship. And most of the things that govern relationship can be found in some word that I won't call it an adage, but we call it agbelero, agbelero. That is some words that are fabricated, that are not rooted in culture per se, but existed in the thought that has become part of us and that has affected our relationship, that is affecting our relationship either positively or negatively. One of the words I want us to consider, because I'll be bringing some of those statements that we grew to know and we grew in it. Even before some of us, it has been well established in our heart. Before some of us goes into marriage or start a relationship. And we discover that as unhealthy as this saying were, we were unable to divorce ourselves from them before we enter into a relationship, and it is affecting many relationships. Let me start with this one in Yoruba language. Somebody who is, if you are familiar, if you stay with elderly people, most of these things I'm going to say will not be strange to you. And you will see how it's affecting or has the potential of affecting our relationship positively or negatively. One of the statements that I wrote down here is, I don't know if any of you have ever heard the word that say, Okobange tin toiwedu. Okobange tin toiwedu. Some of us, we grew to hear this word that any man who is a potential man is an abomination for you to sit down with your wife and pick a wedu. So that is what we are told. That is what we grew up with. So it is existing in Yoruba thought and tradition that a man must not involve himself in a core domestic work, especially when the highest level of degrading yourself as a man in a home is to join your wife in picking a wedu. So anybody who sees you picking a wedu sit down with your wife and you are picking the wedu, lo and behold, you are in trouble. Because you will be castigated, you will be named. And these are the things we carry in our mind into a relationship. And when our wife is walking and the wedu is on ground, which is the next thing, and we are doing nothing, instead of assisting in picking the wedu and gist and talk many things that will make relationship sweet, when we remember it is Okobange Nembayawo rẹ̀ tọ́ ewédú ọkọ tí ò rí kan ṣe, tí ò lákàsí, then you withdraw. You don't want to render an assistant in that area. And as a result of that, your wife is overlabored because onoro amala, onioto ewedu, and the time you spend in even picking ewedu is more than the time you spend in cooking amala, in doing the amala. I get to know this because if you will call me Okobange, I agree, call me Okobange. I have since divorced myself from that thought and tradition that I should not help my wife to pick ewedu. In fact, when he want to cook, I say, bring the ewedu for me. Let me do the ewedu for you. And some people had visited us and they saw me picking ewedu for my wife. And they can't talk, but they are not happy. Some of them who are courageous enough to ask me, why do I join my wife in picking ewedu against what we believe traditionally? I don't hesitate to tell them that God has since knocked that one off my neck. I won't allow my wife to work and overlabor himself. At the end of the day, the burden of carrying the children will be on me. So any area I can be of an assistant, even if it is to pick ewedu, I am ready to do that. You can see that that statement alone had made many men not to be able to be of an assistant to their wife in the area of domestic assistance. Another word that is common to us that we grew to know in the Yoruba land is a correct and a genuine man is forbid to express his pain in the presence of his wife.
Okay.
And that is rooted in the word that said, Akoigi ki isoje. I think you know the meaning of when we say Akoigi ki isoje. That is, I don't know what you call Akoigi, and that's why
male plants.
Male plant does not bring fluid.
Does not secrete fluid.
Does not secrete fluid. No matter how you cut it, it can't secrete fluid. So if you are a male, no matter what is paining you, you must not express your emotion, your painful situation and circumstances in the presence of your wife. And there are a lot of things that pain us, and because we carry this word in our heart, that Akoigi ki isoje. I think I remember it was 4 days ago, I saw a man and I was asking him about the pain he's going through. He said, Oma momarani, turipe Akoigi ki isoje. Moni ada odun akogi dada ni akogi osoje. Yo wa da ba te igi, akoigi, yo soje. Yo seje, kite soje nikan. So we have been taught, and as a result, many people had bottled a lot of pain they're supposed to express to their partner. They are going through a lot. But because of that word that says, Akoigi ki isoje, they don't want to express that pain. And a pain you don't express, it will be difficult for you to get an assistance for it. And most of the time, the assistance to ease our pain lies with our partner. But because we carry ourselves as a superman, that Yoruba tradition and thought has taught us to believe, we don't want to appear as a weakling before our partner, and we decide to keep the pain to ourselves, and the pain is destroy our life and create a lot of wound in our spirit. Another word that is common to us in Yoruba land is this word that says, aláìnírònú ọkùnrin tó ń kú sí ilé àná. The summary of this statement is, no matter how you are suffering from accommodation and struggling, it is forbidden of a man to go and sleep and pass the night in the house of his in-law. No matter how God bless your in-law, no matter how many houses they built where you are living, when people hear that it is the house of your in-law, you are sleeping, you are in a very, very big trouble. Then how can you pass the night in the house of your in-law? And that said that the implication in Yoruba land, that when you pass the night in the house of your in-law, if you mistakenly die in that place, your corpse will not be taken through the main door. Your corpse has to be taken through the window. So, as a result of this, the kind of relationship that's supposed to exist between even a man and his in-law is not there. That statement has built a gap. What belongs to your in-law that automatically belongs to your wife. Yoruba tradition had made you to believe that it does not belong to you. So, and we have seen a lot of people, I know a lot of people in Ibadan here, that their mother-in-law has a very beautiful house, their father-in-law has a beautiful house, that nobody's even living there. And they are there struggling to pay 200,000 accommodation per year. It's the trouble. They have to go to Lapo at times to go and borrow money to pay rent. And the family is under pressure, whereas there is a solution that could have taken the pressure away from them. But because of the traditional belief that a correct man does not sleep in the house of his in-law, is putting them under a pressure that if time is not taken and if not well managed, it can scatter the family and the relationship. Another common statement that we grew up to know, is okugbe ọkùnrin tó ń faṣọ obìnrin bora. We grew to know this, that how can a man be using his wife wrapper as a coverlet when he's sleeping? It's a big abomination. And the most unfortunate thing about this thing that I've just said is even some churches had imbibed that belief. And it becomes what we are even struggling to deal with day by day in the church, because some people had carried that tradition to the church, that if you want to be powerful as a man of God, then don't be using your wife's wrapper to cover your body, because it diminishes the power of God in your life. I know, I don't know if any of the men in the house have visited a mountain. No, it's not a mountain per se, it's a prayer house. I have ceased from visiting that prayer house because of something of my disagreement with certain things and their rule in their that govern the mountain. What are the rules? If you are coming to that prayer house, anything that your wife has touched must not be brought in to that prayer house. If you are coming to that prayer house, you must abstain from your wife. You don't allow your wife to even touch you, not even having an affair together, touch you 5 days before you go to that mountain. Because if it happened like that, the power of God is diminished. And it is not the Bible that said it. They bring it from the thought and idea of our forefathers that believe that if a man want to be a man indeed and don't want to lose his authority, he should not use his wife's wrapper to cover his body. And as a result of that, even some people in Yoruba culture, because of an attempt to avoid using the wife's wrapper to cover their body, they prefer to separate room and have a separate room they will be staying. Another saying, common saying that we grew up to know that is affecting relationship is alágbèrè obìnrin tó ń sọ fún ọkọ wípé oorun yá. That is, it is an abomination for a woman to express his sexual desire to her husband, not even to her husband, though. That if a woman touches you and said he is having a sexual drive, the first thing is here, alágbèrè nìyí o. How can you open your mouth and say this? I think I have tried to resolve this particular issue I've said in many families. Anytime that the wife make a move to her husband, the next thing the husband will say is to ease and said, "Oniyeye, onirano, alagbere," because it is forbidden by what we grew up to hear and grew up to know, that a woman has no right to make a first move in a sexual desire. Even to some extent that even some it's so bad that even a lady must not express the sweetness of the feeling. Even when they are having a conjugal affair, he must pretend as if he does not like it. She does not like it. She has to pretend. Because if she pretends to like it, she will be judged an adulterer and she will not be trusted. The man will think this is what he's been doing about. So, and it is not our fault anyway. We grew up to know this in Yoruba land, that a woman does not make a first move when it comes to sexual matter. And apart from that, even when the husband makes a move, he must not express her joy of having it in order not to be termed as an adulterer. So we have seen many ladies who, since they can't express it and they have to pretend they don't like it, whereas they like it. But the culture and tradition has made them, turned them to a pretender who cannot express her feeling and her mind. There are another saying that is, come on. Sorry, NEPA has just done their worst. Praise God. Can I be seen now to some extent?
Yes, sir, we can see you as well.
Okay. There's another, even some critical belief that a woman, you can't collect the money from a woman. A woman should not give you money. Why should a woman give you money? It's part of what we grew up to know. That if a woman should give you money, then it shows that your destiny is being used. So when a woman is too supportive and the man is struggling and the woman is having money to give, they will tell the man, don't collect the money from your wife because it is means of exchanging destiny. I remember one of my sister-in-law, a wife to my brother, suffered this thing I'm saying. Our brother was so irresponsible, and to the glory of God, the woman tried his best, and he was covering for our brother. I don't know what came upon our father. One day, he called a family meeting, And they brought this sister into family meeting, and they were begging her to leave their son alone, that they had used his head. And everybody spoke. So when it come to my turn, because God has helped me to divorce myself from all those thoughts. So when it came to my turn, they said I should make a comment. I said, talk. All you have said, I agree with you that this woman had used the head of our brother. But let us thank this woman who knows how to use head, though. Because our brother carry head on his head, and that head is useless. And he married somebody who know how to use head to make money, feed him, feed the children. And I said, sir, the cloth, the Christmas cloth you wear, that woman, this is the woman who bought it and give it to our brother to give it to you. The head he has used has produced the cloth you are wearing. And I said, to one thing I want you to do for me when I'm about to marry, I will bring my wife to you so that you will teach her how to use head, so that they can use my head, build the house that we are going to stay, sponsor the children in school, buy a car that I will ride. Is it not my head? Ah. And, and by the time I finished talking, everybody was ashamed of themselves. It's part of what we believe in Yoruba land. And it's affecting relationship negatively. I can go on and on and on, mentioning the same. They are the same we grew up to know that is affecting our conduct and our attitude in relationship. And until we divorce ourselves from this thought and idea, we may not be able to have a correct and good relationship as a Yoruba man. That is part A. The second part that I've said is we have to know where we are coming from in order to know where we are and determine where we are going. As I've said, that we have more than 20 subgroups in Yoruba land that have different belief and different culture. Like I talk about Ijesha, Ekiti, Igbomna, the Okun people, and so on and so forth. There are some things that are peculiar to these tribes. But beyond the tribe, our origin, where we are coming from before we became an Ijesha man, where we are coming from before we became an Ekiti man, what we are coming from before we become an Igbomna man, largely has a lot to do with a relationship. And how do we know where we are coming from? Is through what we call Oriki.
Okay, sir. 1 minute, Pastor Kenny. I wanted to ask about other proverbs that we might know that cause issues in Yoruba land. What are your thoughts about the proverb when they say, "Ẹ̀yin ìyàwó kò ní mẹ́ni"? I know it's supposed to be a prayer, but do we think it puts undue pressure on a married couple regarding fertility?
Yes. It's part of what the saying we grew to know. In Yoruba land, we believe the reason for marriage is nothing but for procreation and nothing more. And that's why we say "Ọmọ lèrè ìgbéyàwó." From the idea of "Ọmọ lèrè ìgbéyàwó" has to do with, that is what leads to the prayer. "Ẹ̀yin ìyàwó ní mẹ́ni," that is, it will not be long before the wife conceives. Torí pé when it becomes long before a wife conceives, it becomes a problem, serious problem, because we have believed that the reason for marriage is to raise children. So no matter the joy you say you are having, no matter the harmony, no matter whatsoever, if children are not there, then to average Yoruba man, you are not fulfilled in terms of relationship. So it's affecting us too. It's affecting us. It's part of it.
Okay. I don't know whether anyone has any other proverbs that they want him to talk about or touch on. If you do, you can raise your hand, but I'll let him go on. You can go on, Pastor Ken.
Now, as I said, every Yoruba man, if you're a correct and a genuine Yoruba man, you must have an origin, no matter where you stay. There is a place you originated from to be where you are. And we have seen it even in our noble men and women. Like let me give an example of your great-grandfather. Papa, I don't know, is he calling Papa Ajose Adeogun? Thank God, Mommy Ayedu is here. Papa Ajose Adeogun is a typical Lagosian. Am I correct? That is what we will see. But through his Oriki, you will get to know, though he's a Lagosian, that he originated from somewhere before Lagos. And where did he originated from? Go and check the Oriki. Olowu Oduru or Majifepe Sere. He has his origin from Owu. Let us look at our great Obasanjo, Chief Obasanjo. Chief Obasanjo is an Owu man. But when you look at his Oriki, you will know that though he's an Owu man, but he's from Ikoyi, because his Oriki is Ome So Ikoyi, Arogumasa.
Pastor, okay, sorry, we'll just hold that Ikoyi matter. AKD Sachs has a question. I just want him to ask the question so that we can move on. AKD Sachs, you can unmute yourself. Let's take your question.
Yes, ma. Thank you, ma. Yes, thank you, sir, for enlightenment. The question I want to ask is that there is one proverb I want to always even run my, always bang, bang, bang for my heart. So they always said, Àti ìgbéyàwó kò tó pọ́n, owó ọbẹ̀ ló ṣòro.
Can you come again?
Àti ìgbéyàwó
tó pọ́n.
Tó pọ́n, yes. Owó ọbẹ̀ ló ṣòro. Oh, yes. Thank you. We need the enlightenment on that also.
What they are saying there is part of another proverb too that has turned negatively on our relationship.
What does it mean?
There is no, to marry is not the issue, but how will you be able to be giving money for soup to live up to your responsibility is what really matters. That is the meaning. It is not a big deal getting married, but the real deal is how will you be putting down money for soup? And I think in this area, it's making many men to run away from marriage because they have seen marriage. That proverb has painted marriage, the survival of marriage, as a sole responsibility of a man. Sole responsibility of a man. So this is making men to cleverly avoid getting married. And some women too who had that mindset in marriage, they are going to marriage and they know either the husband has or not, he must supply them uwobe. And out of that uwobe, one to that journey for their own benefit, or not for the benefit of the home. Because the proverb had made them to believe that the survival of a home is a sole responsibility of a man.
1 minute, Pastor Kendi. You know this thing that you're talking about? You are explaining it and you are saying how it puts undue pressure on men that are trying to get married. In the developed world, a lot of women would prefer to marry a Yoruba man because they believe that he would pay for everything and he believes that he has to, that's what he needs to do. And so they really appreciate them for doing that. But I think it stems from this kind of mindset.
Exactly.
We have 2 questions. I think one is from Dr. Ulufela Onowola, and the second is from Mommy Ayedu. We'll just take them one after the other and then move on. Dr. Onowola, let's take your question, please.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Okay. Pastor Kendi, there is usually this saying in married Yoruba couples, where you will find either the husband or mostly the wife calling relations of the husband, ìyá ọkọ mi, bàbá ọkọ mi, even if it is the sister to the husband, and the sister is even junior to the wife. This culture, I know normally, biblically, we are to respect our in-laws, we are to respect everybody. But this culture of iya oko, baba oko, even to junior ones, and the wives it's sort of giving exaggerated respect to in-laws, to her in-laws. Is it not affecting the relationship? Because she will feel now that she has to give respect to her husband and then undue even more respect to the junior ones and the senior ones of the siblings of the husband. Is it not affecting the relationship between the husband and wife so much?
That practice has done a lot of harm to Yoruba marriage than good. Because there are some those Iyoko and Baboko in quote, that the thing enter into their mind and they thought their brother married their wife for them. And as a result, they keep misbehaving. We have sorted out many issues like that, where the brother to the husband and the sister to the husband are practically taking over the house. Because by virtue of Iyoko, Baboko, this and that, I've seen a man who divorced his wife because of that. So it's another thing we have to check in the Yoruba land that is affecting our relationship negatively. Until respect is not until when you call somebody Iyoko or Baboko. He has name. You can call him by his name. That does not mean you disrespect him or disrespect her. Thank you.
I think Mommy Ayedu has a question. Let's take her question. Mommy Ayedu, please, let's take your question, ma.
Actually, it's not a question.
Okay, ma.
It's just a comment. It's an addition. Pé àtìgbéyàwó ṣòro.
Kò tó pọ̀n, àtìgbéyàwó tó pọ̀n, owó ọbẹ̀ ló ṣòro.
Owó ọbẹ̀ ló ṣòro. I want to expatiate on it. What it really means is that in Yoruba land, if you want to marry, you may not even put anything down for the entire family will contribute to do the marriage for you. So after that, it will remain you and your wife. It remains you to look after your wife. And that is why they are saying àtìgbéyàwó ṣòro, because there is a lot of people will contribute towards your marriage to make it grand. So you won't have to bother about how you are going to marry. But by the time the whole celebration ended, it will remain you to now look after your wife. Just to add to that.
Thank you very much. Okay. Dr. Onowala, do you have another question?
Yes. Maybe
Okay.
Pastor can expatiate for us. Àti níyàwó òṣò, àná burúkú ni o.
Ìyàwó burúkú sòdò fẹ́, àná burúkú ni òdùn ní.
Okay.
Yes.
I think the most important thing at ìyàwó burúkú àti àná burúkú ọlọ́mọ jẹ́ ká ní kankan.
Ami.
And
me, I believe àná burúkú no ní, ìyàwó burúkú ni ká má fẹ́. Because you can avoid your Anna, but can you avoid your wife? So that statement is not. I think it's not a good statement. At ìyàwó burúkú àtàná burúkú, kọ́lọ́ má jẹ́ ká ní kankan. And if we are going to have one at all, it's better we have an group and have a good wife. Then by that we are secure.
Okay, we have some more hands going up. Pastor Solomon, let's hear you, followed by Sister Adebusola. Please unmute yourself, Pastor Solomon.
Okay. Good evening, everyone here.
Good evening.
Yeah, Pastor in the house,
Yeah, welcome, sir.
Greet you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. My question, you're talking about culture, and I think in back, maybe 18, 19, let me say even in 90s, and I was in Ibadan with my father when my father was serving. But I could see that time, I could see the young Yorubas, the young people who, when they see the elder people, they portrayed on the ground, and then that signifies respect. But why is it that the young ones now does not portray again? Is it means where there's no culture, or is it means maybe they have growing at a certain point they don't respect again? I just want to know.
I think it is not a matter of not having. It's not a matter of not having respect. It's a matter of realizing that some of the things we call respect are not actually respect. Do you know there's an adage that says, "Oyodobale inu elusu"? Do you know the meaning of that one?
No, it's not Yoruba. You can translate.
Okay, Oyodobale, that is a typical Yoruba man prostrate. It's a typical Yoruba man prostrate, but in his heart, he's standing erected.
Okay. Okay. Wow.
So most of the time we even call respect because we are forced to do it.
Okay. It wasn't a cultural, maybe normal.
No, it's normal thing. The culture force it on us. Either you have respect or you don't have respect. It is normal thing for you to
Okay, I understand now.
And let us see how it's applicable to home. Do you know there are many homes that has broken because the wife will not need that to greet husband in the morning?
Yes, a lot of things happen like that.
And yet you see some men who don't need that to greet their husband. They love their husband. They respect their husband. And we have seen people who need that to greet their husband and yet lack respect for their husband. So it depends on what we take as respect.
Yes.
I sometimes think that we have to balance it. We know it is part of our culture. Let us maintain our culture and let us have sincere respect for our elders.
Yes, of course.
Let us do both. Let us not throw away our culture because we say.
I know a lady who happened to be a wife of a pastor. He will never greet you kneeling down. Even when he's greeting the husband, she knelt down, greeting the husband. I was surprised when the husband told me it's more than 3 times or 4 times. He has given him a very good dirty slap. Yeah,
Wow.
that does not stop her from kneeling down to greet her husband.
Okay.
But when the husband did something that is not good, he doesn't hesitate to give a dirty slap.
Okay. Okay. I understand.
Thank you for your questions. Let's take Sister Adebusola and then we'll go on with the meeting. Sister Adebusola, please, can you unmute yourself? Let's hear your question, please.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I'm actually enjoying the discussion. And since we are discussing proverbs and relationships, I said, let me keep in this. There's this proverb that says, "Enti oniyawo ano ekinku." Yeah. It's a beautiful one that I throw at my husband a lot of times. We make fun of it and actually we laugh over it. But can you please explain it and let's laugh?
The truth of the matter is, say anything oniyawo sana elekuni. Anything oniyawo ilana.
Translate it, so we are not all Yoruba speaking.
somebody who doesn't get wife cannot get in-law. So it is wife that comes first before in-law. So if you don't have wife, your in-law cannot die because the in-law does not even exist in the first instance. So what does not exist cannot die.
Pastor.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, let me explain from my own point of view. Okay. The way we use it in my house is that because we are enjoying the benefit of having a wife, is the reason why you have to bury
your in-law.
Dies. So because at times when the in-law dies, it's a lot of expenses for the husband of the bride. And some men complain, man, don't forget that is because you enjoy the fellowship and the relationship of your wife that you have to pay back. Thank you.
Yeah, you are very correct, Sister Bushola.
Mommy Ayedu, you have a question or a comment, ma?
Is that the Ayedu?
Okay.
I have seen some situations where the husband died and the junior brothers went to their house and they started taking away everything that the family had.
Is that correct?
They believed that it belonged to their brother, while the wife and the children were still there. In the Yoruba culture, it was absurd. I've heard about such in some other cultures in Nigeria, but I was shocked when I heard about it and I saw it happening under Yoruba culture, which I believe is, I want your comments on it, because I don't think it's right at all.
Thank you.
It is not right. It can never be right, either in Igbo or in Yoruba or in Edo. It can never be right. As Dada have rightly said, this thing is not common in Yoruba land. But either some people are bringing it in. I think I have about 2 or 3 issues like that on my hand as we are talking now, where the man died and they have denied the wife access to the house. And they have taken, even they have not buried the man. They have not buried the man when the brother came, drove the woman out of the house, shared the property. The man I'm talking about is still in the mortuary as I'm talking now. And the wife is not even in the house. They build together. It's unfortunate. And it's a lesson we should learn. When we are alive, we should put in all the documents that will protect our wife and our children in case of the time we might go.
Thank you, sir. Okay, let us continue.
Okay.
Pastor Solomon, we'll take your question. You are talking about Oriki, but I think maybe you want to go to the separate tribes. I think that's where you are about heading to. Yes.
Yes. Like when you are married, entering into a relationship, the first thing you should know to avoid conflict is where is your origin? Or the man you are marrying, where did he originate? The woman you are marrying, where is he coming from? What is her origin? Because we have seen there is a conflict.
Let me ask you one question. People, when their child wants to marry, or their son, or their daughter, the first question the parents will be asking, where are they from? Nibo, not Siwa. And sometimes you say, in this day and age, which one is Nibo, not Siwa again? They are Nigerians, they are good people, and all of that. Do you think this is still a needed question about where are they from?
No, where are they from might not be in order to discourage the relationship. But it is necessary we know where they are coming from in order to guide against some certain precaution. Okay, for instance, let me give these people there are some people that where they are coming from, they don't use cold water, they don't use hot water, even to bath a newborn baby. We call them olomitutu. When the wife got pregnant and conceived, they don't use hot water to massage the body. It is cold water they have to use. It is cold water they have to use on the baby. And even the woman, till she will die, she will never have anything to do with hot water. So if we don't know where they are coming from, in order to pray and break certain things, it might be a serious trouble in future. That's another tribe. We call them Idile Alate. You know what I mean by Idile Alate? Now, as a man.
No, sir, we don't know.
Idile Alate, as a man in your family, when a wife conceives and give birth to a baby, for good 30 days, you must not eat anything that has oil, salt, or pepper. So we call them alate for good 30 days. And now, this is a woman you are married who has never eaten such a thing for whatsoever reason in his life. And now in her life. And now because he has put to bed now, you have to subject her to be eaten at day because of the safety of the baby. Okay, another one. If you are coming from Idile Onilu, Anyagalu, no matter how rich you are, even if you are a daughter of president, if you give birth, the sponge and the soap they will use to bath your child must be go and borrowed and begged for. Because of where he's coming from. He's from Anyagalu family, who believe that you have to borrow, because one of the characteristics of Anya is they beg to solicit for money. So the sponge you will use to bath the baby and the soap you will use to have to buy the baby will not be the one you buy. It must be the one you go and borrow from the neighborhood, just to fulfill righteousness. So if you don't know where these people are coming from, and in order to break what we're supposed to break, we may find ourselves in an unsolicited trouble at times. So there are lots of things that surround us, and that is why we need to ask questions, not necessarily because we want to discourage the marriage, but we should know what to deal with in that marriage. There are some family, we call them, like we are coming from family of area lapa, who say throughout your life, you must not eat anything called reptile. Because you are from that family. You are from a soy kuyi, you must not eat kinakwe okete. Okete is okete. I don't know what. Big rabbit.
Bush rat or grass cutter?
Yeah.
Bush rat.
No, bush rat.
Bush rat. Mm-hmm.
If you are coming from a soy kuyi family, you must not eat bush rat. So if we don't know this thing, we will play into the hand of the devil. And that is why it is necessary we know, because there are some cultures that are rooted in demons that come from where we originated from, that we need to know and pray about before we enjoy our marriage. We can go on. There are so many. There are so many, like in Elijah now, you give birth to a baby, they have to throw the baby into the river. If river carry the baby away, you don't cry. If that baby does not belong to that family, it's a bastard. If river carry him and bring him back, then it's a bona fide child. Either a bastard or a rich child. Who's supposed to die? Which baby don't have right to live? So these are things that we have to, the reason why we have to know where we are coming from, in order to know some things we have to deal with in our relationship.
Thank you very much for that, Pastor K.
Yeah.
Let's give you a breather. I think we'll take Pastor Solomon's questions. Then I think you wanted to talk specifically about different ones. I think that day I spoke to you, you told me something about the Ondo tribe or Idori or something. And yes, I felt it was pinpoint to some people that I knew. Sister Chinedu is asking that, are Christians keeping all these traditions? You'll be surprised. Pastor Solomon, let's hear your question. Are you still there, Pastor Solomon?
Yeah,
let's hear your
question. Yes. One of the questions I want to ask, and another one is not a question, but to appreciate Yoruba culture. And I wish I could marry in Yoruba because of one. The first one, I wish I wanted to marry, but unfortunately, I have not seen. So, but I like Yoruba culture because of I like their celebration, and they celebrate a lot. They celebrate themselves, and when they are alive, they enjoy themselves. They do something. What they call it, do or some what you call it. Whatever they do, a baby with a baby born, they celebrate, and even the new moon, anything they just celebrate. I think even the baby died, they will still celebrate everything. Yoruba celebrate. They cook a lot of food, good food, and all of that. People eat and enjoy, and that is the part of the culture I like, because I come from the north, but not far north from the central north. That is the middle belt, where I grew up, and in the culture where we don't celebrate ourselves. We celebrate only when somebody died, and when somebody in the hospital, we don't have money. But when somebody died, we tax people, the in-laws, and all of that. They gather money, and that is when you do. They spend money, and they keep the person in the mortuary. They spend a lot of money, and this is just for, let me say, for things that don't not even go to, because when somebody died, that's why I like Hausa culture. But once you die, at that very moment, you'll be buried at that very day. they share your properties and all of that. I like that culture, and in that aspect. And so, but my culture, we at that time we keep somebody for 1 year in the mutually and whatsoever. So, but thank God for Christianity, we have been breaking that down. Now it's just 2 weeks, and that 2 weeks you're not satisfied. They left you with your own cost and you manage. And so, but the question I wanted to ask about is the Yoruba culture, like maybe the father died and maybe he has some what I call Cuban, would the child, because in my culture we do it, but I don't know now. I don't think now because we are civilized. We're in the global world, and I don't think there are a lot of things we don't do now. So, but before, like maybe the father died, he has a concubine. Maybe his children will still maybe take one of those concubines. I look at that. It was very, very painful for me. I can't understand that. And then another one is maybe maybe a brother, your own brother relatives. Maybe they pass on early, and your brother is entitled to take his wife if he does not have a heir, and we continue your lineage and all of that instance. So it does those things happen in Yoruba culture too?
Okay, thanks for the question.
Okay.
I think those things still happen. Those things still happen. They still happen. They inherit wife. Wife is still being inherited here in Yoruba, in part of Yoruba land, but it is not by force anymore. Before it was by force. You have to inherit, your brother will have to inherit your wife if you died, but now it is being modified. If the woman like, fine. If it doesn't like, so be it. She will go and get married. And most of the time, the reason why some women, they may put some women under condition that because the man has property. So if woman chooses to go and marry elsewhere, she may likewise forfeit the property the husband leave behind. So, but if you want to keep enjoying the property the man left behind, you must look for somebody in that family to marry. So it still happens in some places. I have two cases, one case like that in my church, when the woman was inherited by the brother of his husband, but it doesn't lead to anywhere anyway. There's nothing you can compare to first love.
Thank you, Pastor K. Yes, you can go on now.
Okay, like we are saying, to talk specifically about what we know about some areas. We cannot know the area, but in some area, what is peculiar to them in terms of conduct and attitude. To start with Ondo people, Idari. It is this agidi stubbornness of heart. They only yield to what comes to their heart until they see a superior argument. You can't bend them. And if you are going to marry from such a place whom Christ has not thoroughly broken, then you must be getting ready to marry somebody that you are going to deal with his stubbornness. If you go to like Ijesha, Ekiti, those one, when they are cursing you, it's like they are joking. Even if they want to greet you in the morning, but though they are very, very industrious, but their manner of talking, you may not like it if Christ has not broken them very, very well. When you come to Ibadan here, in our own Ibadan here, average Ibadan man want to marry a wife that will be taking care of him. And that is why some of them are jobless and they have more than 3, 4, 5 wives. So that they will eat here on Tuesday, eat in that place on Friday, eat in another place on Friday, and at the end of the day, you will be using food to beg him to come and sleep in your house. That is typical thing about the people that have not been broken, that have not encountered Jesus thoroughly. Then when you come to, I'm talking about man, the same thing, the women to beg up because I'm a man. That's why I'm particularly talking about men.
Please balance it. So let us not start fights, but finish one first.
When you go to when you go to Ilorin share the same similarity with Ibadan in time of marry plenty wife in order for the wife to be feeding them. Like, it's not let me come back to Ibadan. It is not a big deal for average Ibadan man for his wife to be promiscuous, in as much as that promiscuity is bringing food to the table. He doesn't care where the food comes from. In as much as food is coming, you are free to live your life the way you want. For those who are not responsible, or those who have not encountered Christ, and that is even traced to Ibadan. And to Ibadan, he say ogun kaf ogun jali na la ile lopile Ibadan latile, just to go and fight and carry a spoil, loot people's property to survive. And now people don't fight war, so there's nothing to loot anymore. Now the next strategy now is to marry plenty wives who will be feeding you, no matter what they do to get you food. Then when you come to where I come from, Okunland in Kogi State, if you are going to marry, one thing I discovered with Okuman is we are very, very hardworking, but we have that pride in us. There's this always pride. You want, where you are talking, you don't want your wife to talk. So if you are going to marry from that axis, that Okun people, you can find them in Kogi State, about 7 local government in Kogi State. That is their nature. That is their nature. But something that is peculiar about their women, I can say a lot about that. If you have misunderstanding with them, if you have understanding with their wife, even if they give birth to 5 children, just know that those 5 children will no longer be yours, because Okuma will not leave you and leave his children behind. They will have Ijebus, very industrious, very caring with what we know about them. The same thing with Egba. And what led about that is early civilization really helped the Egbas and the Ijebus to we call them Bajuma. They like socialization. Can say Faji. To do as my brother Solomon, what he say he likes. But they work to get their money to do it. Not that it's their pride. But I think it is early civilization that led to it. But when you go to the Aworis, when you are married from Awori, every man or woman you see in Awori land is a potential witch or wizard.
Where are the Aworis, please? Oh. Please. Oh.
We have Awori in Lagos.
Okay.
And Ota and Lagos. That is where we have the Aworis. Yeah, when there is a common saying, so we believe that Awori are synonymous to nothing but wizardry and witches. and so on and so forth. So these are things we have to know that are peculiar to each tribe. We can talk about Owo, Ifon, then we talk about the riverine area, the Botako, the Kale, the Abua, the Joabua, in Ondo State.
Please talk about them now. Owo, you have just mentioned all of them. Are they the same?
Owo Adondo is the same, or Owo Aodo is the same. But one thing that is peculiar about Owo is they have a measure of pride in them. Because they are the only major town that has their own dialect to themselves. And their kingdom on their own before the merging and converting to a state. So they have that pride of identity. That is about Owo. So let me stop at that.
Thank you so much, Pastor K. You have done a great job. Please, Mami Gio should give you water to drink, Biko. Let's take some questions now. I think Dr. Onawola has a question, followed by Sister Bukola Emmanuel.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Okay. Pastor Kendi, I just have one comment and one question for you. My brother's wife or my sister's husband, the family, are they not my in-law?
They should be.
Okay.
It depends on what they call themselves to you.
In English language, I think they are my in-law. So someone who is not yet married, his in-law can pass on. Isn't it?
Okay.
Yes. Now,
somebody that isn't married. You see, modern with English is very complex.
Okay.
But what we know, what Yoruba know as in-law per se is your wife, your wife, father, mother. They are the first direct in-law you are having.
In-laws.
But the other one are not important in-law, so to say.
Okay, they are second, third degree in-laws.
In-law,
okay.
Exactly.
Yes. My question is your comment, your opinion on the issue of mourning period for fresh widows. It's the culture, even and in Christendom is there too.
Yeah.
A woman whose husband just died will go into a mourning period. Some people, it can be 40 days, some can be 3 months, some can be 6 months, where the widow will not be seen outside. If she has a shop, like she's doing business, she will not go to her shop for that period. She will not attend church for that period because it will cause stress for her. How will she feed her children? Is it other people that will be bringing food for her if she doesn't go out? What is your opinion on the mourning period for fresh widows?
My opinion about, my opinion about a mourning period for widows is it depends on how God quickly healed the wound in the heart of that widow. When he has lost a loved one, number one, it is his spirit that is injured more than the spirit of anybody. So he should be determined if God heal her spirit on time by the support of people around him, the moment he has been able to overcome it, for the sake of people who will say, after 40 days, he should go out and do her work. That is my opinion.
Now, sorry, before we take the next question, thank you, Dr. Onawala, for that question. Why is there no mourning period for widowers? Is there money period for them too? Is it only women that lose spouse?
What is applicable to widow is applicable to the widower.
Okay. All right. That's fine. Sister Bukola Emmanuel, let's take your question. You can unmute yourself. Your hand is raised. Yeah.
Good evening, everyone.
Oh, it's Brother Bukola. I'm sorry.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Well done, sir, my daddy. I'm happy to be here tonight.
How are you, Bukumi?
Fine, sir. My question is that concerning the proverb, there is a proverb I want to know more about it. They said Yoruba people said ọbẹ̀ tí baálé ilé ò ń jẹ, ìyáálé ilé ò gbọdọ̀ sè é. So I want to know more about the proverb. Ọbẹ̀ tí baálé ilé jẹ, ìyáálé ilé ò gbọdọ̀ sè é.
That is the soup that the husband does not eat. A wife must not cook.
Yes. For instance, now, as I am now, I like beans. So if I find myself, maybe I marry someone that eats the food that I like. So how will I do that? You know, because I've noticed that most of ladies, they don't really like beans, and that's my favorite food.
Let me give him one solution. You should go and find a twin to marry. We solve the problem.
Anyway, the adage is true. The adage is correct.
Okay.
You must finish that proverb. Oh, my data had gone. Okay, it's still on.
It's still on.
You understand now?
Yes.
It's not that he must not cook it, but he must not cook it for the husband. So,
we can hear you, sir.
I think money will solve this problem. If you don't like beans and your wife like rice, God will provide you money to buy beans and buy rice. So when he cook your beans, he will cook her own rice for herself.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Pastor K. Barrister, did you want to ask a question?
No, ma. I'm listening, ma.
All right.
Learning.
I saw you unmuted yourself. Okay, sir. Pastor Solomon, I see you have another question. You are leading the you are getting the medal for the most questions today. Go ahead. Make it short.
Okay.
Please. Yeah.
Okay, ma. Okay. Yes,
5
I want to.
only.
Yes. Okay. I want to
up.
ask one question about the culture, like a kingship, when the king died and the heir apparents, who's like a lawyer family, and that they're supposed to, like, maybe like in my place, I will have a culture. We rotate and the kingship, and because but in Yoruba, I found out that it's just a lawyer family, and they continue within the heir apparents within the family, and it must be the first son who will take over the king. And but I seen the case of a king in Lagos here, that it wasn't the first king, the first son who is the king. I want for the security reason, I don't want to mention the family, but maybe it's possible I can mention, but I think I am very confused, because if at this time that they still continue with that same loyal family. I don't know. I think I need just enlightenment.
It's okay. Thank you, Pastor Solomon. Although that does not specifically relate to relationships in particular, generally it will be the first son that is usually the heir for a kingship. But sometimes there are some traditional rites, like the Ifa, will say, like the religious leader in the community that selects the new king. So that could have been what happened in that situation. Pastor Kainde, did you hear the question?
I can't hear the question.
Okay, so the summary of the question, he wanted to know why in some cases the kingship does not go to the first child, it goes to another person, that he thought it usually went to the first son. So I was trying to give an explanation.
The kingship does not usually, it is in some tribe that the kingship goes to the first son, like in Edo, like in Wari. But in Yoruba land, the king, there are a lot of ruling house. Our kingship is being rotated among the ruling house.
Okay.
Like in Ife now, we have 4 ruling house.
Okay.
Like the present ruling house now is Giesi. When the kingship leaves Giesi, it's going to Lafongido.
Okay.
So when it go to the ruling house, then they have to consult, they throw it open to the ruling house to present people that are eligibly qualified to be.
Okay.
From those who are eligibly qualified to be, they will consult divination and pick one among them.
Okay.
So in Yoruba land, ruling house are always more than one.
Okay.
So it is being rotated among the ruling house.
Thank you. I will just take the last question from Dr. Samuel Adeyeye. Uncle Samuel, let's hear your question, please. Uncle Samuel, can you unmute yourself so we can take your question? You can unmute yourself, sir.
Yeah. Hello, good evening, y'all.
Hello, sir.
How are you, sir?
Yeah, it's a pleasure seeing everybody's face here. And I want to thank Sister Timmy for this program. It's been a long time. And I want to thank Pastor Kendi too for the in-depth teaching concerning about the culture in our Yoruba nation. Thank you very much. Even though you went around the whole Yoruba nation. Thank you very much for the in-depth teaching. Thank you very much. And I want to thank the house for this day. Thank you very much. God bless you all.
Thank you, Uncle Samuel.
Uncle Samuel has indirectly given the vote of thanks. It was about time for us to round up. But anyway, it's been a lovely, lovely time. I think it's time well spent. I think we've gotten a lot of light about these things. Thank you very much, Pastor Kainde, for your time and all your explanations and the insights. Thank you, everyone, for your questions. Thank you for being here. Thank you for those that joined on YouTube. We appreciate you. This is Find the Link. You're welcome to join us. Every 2 weeks, the relationship group, we have something going on. There is a discussion. Or sometimes we meet each other. That's not usually open to the public, but every now and then we have discussion like this that we throw open. You can find more topics on the YouTube channel. The YouTube channel is Taking Some Child. You'll find more there. So this is where we will call it a day. Tomorrow, we are starting a new series on fertility. Tomorrow's topic is assisted reproduction, an overview. And the lovely lady called Mrs. Butola Me Jeremiah Yusuf is going to be taking tomorrow's session and the next 2 sessions after that. And it's going to be a really insightful time. Fertility is a huge issue, especially in Africa and really all over the world, just because children are precious blessings that everybody wants. So I think it will be really, really insightful to all of us to be in that session, and please invite somebody. If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, please do, so that you can check out the remaining very insightful videos. There's some on parenting, there's some on relationships, and so on and so forth. God bless you all. Till we meet again, I want somebody to tell us our parting words. What shall we do? I'm going to pick on somebody now. Who will I pick on? Okay, Mr. Kainde, Michael, let's hear you. Till we meet again, let's unmute ourselves and say our parting words, please.
Yes.
Yes. Kindly unmute yourself. Thank you. Till we meet again. I live in love. I live in love. I live in love.
I live in love.
I live in love.
I stay in peace.
I stay in peace.
I shine my light.
I shine my light.
I use my power.
I use my power.
I use my power.
Oh, help me, God.
Oh, help me, God. Thank you.